Hello everyone, Gene Bites here, software engineer. Quick warning, this channel is not for spectators. We're going straight into real code, real problems, real fixes, no edits, no excuses. If you want to watch our products actually get shipped, welcome home. Let's jump in. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about smart TV development. All right. Now, nobody ever told me how you actually develop apps for the smart TV. I just decided one day to think about like, hey, who develops these apps and how does one get started learning how to develop apps for the smart TV? Because a lot of apps from the smart TV is, from what I noticed, they suck. And so I decided to jump right into it. And so without further ado, let me take you with me. So as you can see here, I have a bunch of smart TVs pulled up here on Google. Let me close that for now because that's not important. What's important is this smart TV app that I have up here right now running locally that we're going to use as a base to pretty much get started building these apps for smart TVs. Now, when it comes to smart TVs, the first thing that you have to do, right? And I'm gonna let me go ahead and shift. Let me just shift over real quick here. Let me just shift back over real quick here so you guys can hold on. Give me a second. Let me just shift back over here real quick. So the first thing you have to do is pick your starter lane. So don't try all three smart TVs, right? So start with something like an Android TV first, right? If you want the fastest real app momentum, because the tooling is mature, debugging is sane, and you can ship to the Play Store, right? So that's that. Now, then you can expand to Tizen, which is Samsung based, and then you have Web OS, which is LG based. If you need living room coverage, right now, the reality check here is that Samsung TVs equal Tizen. So this is a huge market, right, for web based apps. LG TVs equals Web OS. So same thing, web-based apps, huge market. Now, Sony, Hisense, and others are often, you know, with the Android TV or Google TV. So these are going to be native Android apps, hence the Google Play Store. So if you want to build a cross-platform TV web app, you'll still do packaging differences per platform. All right. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys who might not have ever jumped into this before. So the next thing I decided was my tech approach, right? So option A, you have the Android TVs. The language used for Android TVs is Kotlin or Java, right? Kotlin or legacy Java. UI, Jetpack Compose, or Leanback. Some of the pros with developing on native Android is strong tooling performance, like we mentioned before. DRM video support is better, and the Play Store distribution, right? The cons are it's a separate code base from Samsung and LG unless you wrap web. Now, option B. Let me bring back up my screen here so we get back up to full screen. Now, option B is Samsung Tizen plus LG WebOS, like we mentioned earlier. So the language for these is going to be basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The pro is that it's one code base can be adapted for both of these types of TVs, right? Now the cons or platforms. The cons are going to be there are lots of platform quirks. So focus management pain, video playback differences, and there's packaging differences, right? Which we know that can be a pain as far as if you're used to developing apps. Now option C, cross-platform TV UI framework. So if you want a proper TV first UI that isn't a brittle React website, Lightning JS is built for TV performance and focus navigation. Then you have Svelte can also work nicely, but you must nail focus and performance yourself. So the blunt take here is that if the app is navigation heavy and you care about smoothness, Lightning JS is worth it. Now, the one thing TV development is really about is TV apps live by D-pad navigation, so up, down, left, right, OK, and back, visible focus rings, scaling, highlight states, predictable focus order, right? So grids and lists, and a fast UI. So TV hardware can be extremely weak. Um, Remote key rules you should bake into your brain when entering into this sort of market, right? Um, so for OK and enter buttons on the remote, they should select. Back and return buttons should go back. They shouldn't exit unexpectedly. Play, pause, rewind, fast forward, media controls if you're a player app. Long press quirks are going to be different per platform. The minimal acceptable UX for these kinds of apps are going to be you can use the entire app without a mouse. Focus is always visible. Back button always does the expected thing. And scrolling lists don't stutter. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is build a tiny TV shell first, right? So make a prototype that has a home screen with 6 to 12 tiles, right? So we have a home screen here with 6 tiles. You want to have a left side menu, which is what we're going to be adding next, and a detail screen and the video playback screen, even if it's just a placeholder stream. So let me go ahead and add those things right now so you guys can see how I add things live when I'm building with AI. It's it's not as complicated as some of you might think, right? So I'm going to say add these elements next in our build, right? And I'm going to go ahead and just copy these elements. We already have the home screen. Now, the reason why these are why you want to start with the TV shell is because once you saw focus and routing and performance in the shell, everything else is normal app development, right? So these are kind of the key things you want to focus on when you're doing smart TV development, right? So let's move over to how many minutes do we have? Let me see. We're at about 6 minutes and 45 seconds. All right, we can keep going. We got about 4 minutes left. So platform setup. So what you actually install or do when it comes to these platforms, right? So for the Android TV, this is going to be the fastest way to get started developing on smart TVs, right? So start with the Android TV. So first step is you're going to download Android Studio. All right. Second step, you're going to create a TV project or standard project. And you're going to add TV intent, lean back, or compose. Okay. So if you're writing this down, take notes or pause the video. Then you're going to run, as far as your environment, you're going to run this on an Android TV emulator. Now, this is good enough for you to start. Or you can use an actual Android TV device with developer mode enabled. Okay, now a pro tip is going to be use a remote control keyboard mapping or ADB key event to simulate the D-pad, right? ADB is the Android debugging tool. If you guys aren't familiar with ADB, I used to work with that in the past when I was doing work on my Android phones. Now, for Samsung Tizen, your first step is going to be installing Tizen Studio. All right. Then you're going to use the TV emulator. Right now, this is going to be slow. Like emulators are going to be slow because they're essentially virtual machines. Then you're going to also use a real TV later on, right? And then you're going to enable developer mode on this real TV on the Samsung TV, and you'll enter in your your dev machine's IP. So you'll find your IP address for your laptop or your computer, and you'll provide that in the Samsung TV settings. All right. Now, what you're going to build here is you're going to build a web app package as a Tizen app, and you'll be able to debug it via Tizen tools and browser-like inspection. So sort of like Command I, if you're developer tools if you're used to debugging in the browser. Now, as far as LG, right? LG WebOS. Your first step is going to be to install WebOS TV SDK. WebOS TV SDK. You're going to use the WebOS simulator, then a real TV, same setup, and then you're going to also enable developer mode on the TV using LG's developer mode app, right? And so you'll build a web app package as a WebOS app, and you'll debug with the same inspector tools. So yeah, guys, I mean, that's pretty much everything you need to get you started. I'll make a part 2 of this. I don't want to make this video too long, but I will make a part 2 to kind of, if you guys have questions or want to know, more about the status of my app and, where we kind of are. So as you can see, guys, we've sort of added the side bar here. Now we sort of have, a basic sort of UI, right, for our smart TV shell. So then in the next video, I'm going to show you guys a little more functionality, right? We're going to start getting to the nitty gritty of developing with smart TVs. I have a bunch of documentation here already that I'm going to start getting into. So I'll wrap it up there. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys like the content. If you're interested in learning how to develop on smart TVs, I will be coming out with a course, and I will be providing more videos. So make sure you guys stay tuned and subscribe to the channel so you guys can stay tuned and you guys can follow along and also code along, right? And as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoy your day, and make sure you keep coding and stay safe out there. I'll see you guys next time.